Welcome back to World War Live. I'm your host, Conrad Franz, here, episode 18 on this September 2nd, Tuesday evening, 7:52 p.m. Central Time. I'm a little tired. I'm a little overworked. A lot of work today. A lot of things going on the past few days regarding some big developments, but I hope everyone can hear me. Let me know if I'm having any audio trouble. I am streaming to Substack, YouTube, and the World War Now X account. So hello. If you're in the chat there, I'd love to see you in the Substack chat. I'd love to see everyone in YouTube chat. I'd love to see everybody in X chat. I can see X and YouTube chat over here on StreamYard. Then I got to look at my phone to see the Substack chat. But it's good to see everybody here. If anybody wants to have any questions answered, be sure to send a super chat. I already got a great $5 from Paisios we're going to read here in a second. So send that in. Rocking a World War Now shirt, potentially available soon. But before we hop into any of the content this evening, obviously people see the title, Fog of Infowar. A lot of strange things been going on. People saying Donald Trump is dead. Apparent strikes on these Venezuelan boats. Scott Bessent is saying that massive new developments are going to happen between the US and Russia. So things are not looking good as far as toning things down regarding World War III. Of course, we are also witnessing escalations in the Middle East as Israel both advances deeper and deeper into Gaza, and the West Bank appears to be on the verge of full-on annexation as Mike Huckabee appears to be supporting it. There appears to be rumors and leaks that the Palestinian Authority is on the verge of complete and total collapse. These are audio leaks about the bank accounts being totally frozen. The Israeli authorities are completely freezing, debanking, doing what they did to the Jerusalem Patriarchate, for example, completely trying to ice out, economically speaking, the Palestinian Authority. This is all, of course, leading up to the September General Assembly that's coming up in a few days in New York, where France, Belgium, the UK, Canada, all these countries have pledged to recognize Palestine. So Israel and their allies in the United States are doing everything they can to make sure Palestine just doesn't exist by the time that happens. So it sort of seems like a futile endeavor. But we got some super chats before we hop into any of the news. Actually, before I read any of the super chats, give me a second here. I want to make sure we do the proper shilling. Stop the screen. We're going to share a new screen. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. Everybody be sure to check out worldwarnow.co if you want to support the show outside of the super chats here on the stream. Please get behind the paywall right here, worldwarnow.co. I want to encourage everyone to download the Substack app as well. If you are or not a subscriber and you plan on subscribing, please download the app. It helps you like the videos, comment on the episodes and everything. So really great community. You also get a lot of other creators are on there, of course. I mean, Scott Ritter, Anthony of Westgate, Father Peter is on there. A lot of great Orthodox creators are, and conservatives and others are doing really good things on Substack. So please download the app, follow us and subscribe to us on Substack. Like these episodes. We want to make sure that all of our posts on Substack are getting 50 plus likes. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, like as well and subscribe. Same thing goes, of course, for the World War Now X account. But as you can see, our latest episode, Ether Hour episode 93, Q&A number 14. We really get into some good stuff this one. It's a really great episode. I encourage everybody to check it out. Of course, we discussed, someone asked about, St. John Vatatzis. We discussed some of Elder Ephraim's prophecies. We discussed the potential sanctity of Fyodor Dostoevsky, some controversies, for example, within the Russian Orthodox Church against people who, for example, didn't consider the Romanov royal martyrs full martyrs, just passion bearers. So a lot of debates there. We have our opinions on Dave Smith, our opinions on certain fascistic ideologies and these sorts of things. So check this out. Get behind the paywall to listen to the whole thing. And if you get behind the paywall, you can ask us questions in our future 15th Q&A, which should be coming up in 4 or 5 weeks or so. So get behind the paywall. You get access not just to this episode, but of course access to all of our other Ether Hour episodes, our recent economics episode with Gennady, previous week episodes with Steve Su on Taiwan and China. Of course, all sorts of episodes with Anthony of Westgate. You also get full access to the Death of Empire documentary here, which we translated and subtitled in English for the first time. 4.5 hours of never before seen in English documentary historical content, completely changing the game on everything everyone knows about the Russian Revolution, the persecution of the church, and of course, what really went on in the early 20th century in Russia. So check all of that out. Just $7 a month, even less if you want to pay yearly, $75 a year. It equates out to $625 or so a month. So in my opinion, a really, really fantastic deal. And of course, keeps the lights on here at the proverbial world war now bunker. But with all that being said, $5 from Paisios. No question. Just wanted to say I loved being in Austin. Sorry we couldn't hang out, but it was worth it to hang out with Metropolitan Isaiah. No worries, brother. I was at the monastery on Monday, so I missed you by one day, but it's great that you hung out with Metropolitan Isaiah. I'm seeing your profile picture. You are hanging with him there. He's a wonderful hierarch. I'm glad he chose to retire at the monastery near me so I can regularly get his blessing. So thank you, Paisios. Real world war now patriot here enforcing order with the wrench. Alan Wong also in chat. Great to see you, buddy. €2 from I Panini. Why are there mosques and synagogues and holy are you? Well, obviously, religious pluralism is sort of in right now. You're going to be hard-pressed to find any countries that don't have at least some degree of religious pluralism. I mean, even the Muslim countries in their capital cities are forced to concede to certain Orthodox Christian and Catholic churches to sort of save face. But generally speaking, obviously, there's a problem in Russia with certain levels of diversity. But again, the Russian Empire has entire regions full of Muslims. I mean, do you want Russia to just concede Dagestan? Like, what's the solution for all the Dagestani and Chechens? I mean, what's the solution, frankly, for all the Jews? Russia is far less Jewish than it was in the Soviet Union, but unfortunately, there's still a lot of influence there, obviously. We want Russia to be a confessionally Christian state. Orthodoxy is privileged over these other groups, but Judaism and Islam in particular are protected because Russia is trying to hold together these ethnic groups, and Russia is still influenced by Chabad Lubavitch. I mean, Putin talks about the 2 million Russian speakers in Israel. So obviously that's why. But generally speaking, there are far less mosques, even per capita, per the amount of Muslims than there are Orthodox churches. Most of the mosques, there's only a few mosques in Moscow. And the reason you see those big crowds with Muslims is because there are so few mosques that all the Muslims are often forced to go to the same mosques. Obviously, I think there needs to be something done about it. I would much prefer if Muslims generally kept their religion in their regions, and then we sent missions there and tried to convert them all to Orthodoxy. But again, here is the we're not in charge here, are we? I mean, like, same thing with people in America that are like, oh, we gotta, deport every, non-Anglo-Saxon person. It's like, that's just never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it would be cool if it could, but it's not gonna happen. The best we can do is, stop immigration that we have it right now, try to encourage as much remigration as we can, and outside of that, we have to try to secure our own communities. And Russia obviously has a stronger chance of doing a lot of that than most of the West. But thank you for the €2. I don't know what the exchange rate is these days, but if anyone else wants to send in any questions, do not hesitate to send in a super chat. But we have a lot of news to talk about today. A lot of weird things going on. Obviously, the Chinese military parade is ongoing, I think, as we speak. If not, it's about to begin, maybe in like 20 seconds or so. So we might pull some of that up, see what the Chinese military tech is revealing. There were some new Epstein documents released by the House of Representatives. We're going to look at some of that, see if anyone has been combing through it at all. Of course, some big news about this U.S. strike on a vessel near Venezuela. We're going to watch some footage, see what was going on there. And of course, there is new news about Scott Bessent and others talking about what is going on between Russia and the United States. Excuse me. As, for example, German Chancellor Merz, I'm going to read just a bit of a prequel here before we hop into the other news. Again, this is not too long after Trump's meeting with all the European leaders. German Chancellor Merz, he calls Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal and says that Europe must find a way to deal with war criminals like him, adding that leniency is out of place. Germany, through the European Union, wants to be engaged in peace negotiations in Ukraine, but it announces one of the negotiating parties and seeks to have it punished for war crimes. Merz does not use the same language when talking about Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who, like Putin, has an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. Merz recently backed down on a previous promise. Yep, the Germans are the only ones so far that pledged to think about recognizing Palestine and have totally backed down on this. Yeah, we're seeing all the leaders show up for the Chinese victory parade. DPRK, obviously we've got Kim Jong-un there. Pezeshkian is there, many other multipolar leaders. Oh, we got Jonathan Kelly, $4.99. Salam, brother. Thank you for the money, my good man. Assalamu alaikum or something like that. But I know no one can see what I'm reading because I'm reading from Telegram, and I don't want to switch over to Telegram. We're going to start with what's going on in Venezuela. And thankfully, this anti-war article has the embedded video. Thank you, Dave DeCamp. We love Dave DeCamp, folks. We love Dave DeCamp. We love antiwar.com. Let's get a round of applause for antiwar.com, one of the best news sources, one of the best news aggregators on the net. Between antiwar.com, the World War Now Telegram, I mean, you really don't need mainstream media. So here we are. Headline, you might have seen it. We're going to watch the video together. Trump claims U.S. strike on boat near Venezuela targeted Tren de Aragua gang. President Trump claimed in a post on Truth Social that U.S. military strike on a boat near Venezuela targeted Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang that the Trump administration recently designated as a terrorist organization. The post came after Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. conducted a strike against a boat that had departed Venezuela. Earlier this morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility, the president said. Trump posted a video of the strike and claimed it killed 11 terrorists, though no evidence has been provided to back up his claims. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Please let this serve as notice to anybody thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America, Trump said. The president also claimed that TDA is operating under control of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, but that contradicts a recently declassified U.S. intelligence memo that said it was unlikely that Maduro's government cooperates with or directs TDA. But let's see the video here. Here's a look at the ship. This is not the angle you get the destruction on. Let's skip forward a little bit here. It's going to zoom out, show us a different angle. Bam. I don't know if this was a drone or some kind of strike from a helicopter. I'm assuming this was a drone, but yeah, we're blowing up little boats. You know, used to seeing this kind of stuff in the Black Sea or something, but we're blowing up little boats in the sea here. And obviously, we can go on to read, whatever, all the propaganda about all of this. And again, I'm no Maduro enjoyer, but if we go to the front and then go to the other immediate article following this, also from Dave DeCamp, it says Venezuela's Maduro says if the U.S. attacks, he will declare the country a republic in arms. Of course, Maduro is claiming he's facing the strongest pressure in the history of his regime from the U.S. right now, which it's clear that especially Marco Rubio, I think, is leading the charge for regime change in Venezuela. This goes on to say Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro held a conference on Monday where he addressed the deployment of U.S. warships off Venezuela's coast and warned that if the U.S. attacked, he would declare his country a republic in arms and engaged in an armed struggle. According to Newsweek, the U.S. has deployed 9 warships, including 3 guided missile destroyers, 3 amphibious assault ships, and 1 nuclear-powered fast-track submarine toward Venezuela. The stated purpose of the deployment is to combat drug cartels, but there's no evidence to support the U.S. claim that Maduro is a cartel leader, signaling the real purpose is another regime change effort in Venezuela. The Trump administration claims that Maduro is the leader of the Cartel of the Suns, a term used to describe a network of Venezuelan government and military officials allegedly involved in drug trafficking, but it does not actually exist as an organization. Maduro and other Latin American leaders, including Colombian President Gustavo Petro, have denied the U.S.'s claims. Maduro pointed out the involvement of the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who was a staunch supporter of the failed coup attempt against the Venezuelan leader during President Trump's first term in office, and recently announced the bounty on Maduro's head was increased to $50 million. We've already talked about all of this before. There was also an announcement of $15 million worth of a bounty put on the defense minister of Venezuela's head. So I guess the idea of some kind of military uprising against Maduro and the Chavista regime is pretty much out the window, because I know the U.S. they've been trying to instigate that for a very long time, but it appears that Maduro loyalists are generally in control when it comes to the military. It says we've got the wrong trousers. Greetings from down under, Conrad, in Substack chat. Thank you for joining. We obviously would love to see some hearts in the Substack chat. We've got 34 people live there, so it seems. So like that stream, I'd love to see the hearts going up. It's great to see. I've got Alan Wong, $4.99. Money to Conrad instead of buying an energy drink. Based. I could probably use an energy drink. However, I don't drink caffeine. Never really have. And a few times I have, I never really felt much of an effect. So can't really relate to caffeine heads. But, they're not necessarily good for you. So good use of your money, Alan. Always greatly appreciated. Certain soldiers really keeping it locked down here. But I appreciate it. You guys are what pay for my Twitter premium so people can actually see my tweets. So thank you much. Another $5 from Paisios. I always believed Metropolitan Isaiah was a saint, and I'm more convinced of that now than ever. I feel like I could be around him my whole life. Well, as many have joked, Metropolitan Isaiah was the last archbishop that believed in God. So when he retired, it was, I'm joking, of course, I'm sure many of them do, but he was a good one. He was a real monastic. And, most of these archbishops these days don't retire to the monastic cell when they're his age. So it says a lot about his character. But we always appreciate you in the chat, Paisios. Of course, I'm keeping tabs on the Chinese military parade. Let's share my screen here. And it's already put in the U.S. The Chinese soldiers and the American parade next to each other. It appears that Putin has arrived at the Victory Military Parade in Beijing. Let us watch.
Сейчас мы видим президента Российской Федерации Владимира Путина. Начиная с 2013 года Владимир Путин бывал на различных мероприятиях в Китае более 10 раз. В настоящее время отношения между Россией и Китаем переживают наилучший период в истории. Отношения двух стран характеризуют...
They rolled out the red carpet for Putin. Got $9.99 from Jonathan Kelly. Zin budget inbound. Thank you, brother. Also not a Nick head, unfortunately, but an NIC nicotine head. But, you know, maybe if I get fatter and fatter, I'll have to get on the Nick to lose some weight. But thank you, Jonathan. Real world, we're not patriots in chat today. Thank you very much. Keeping everything going. I'm trying to see when the is there a live feed here? Maybe this can people hear me now that there's no volume? Is this going to be subtitled?
尊敬的各位国家元首、政府首脑和国际组织代表。
Ching chong ping pong. Yeah, I don't know what he's saying. And there's no subtitles. Obviously, I shouldn't have assumed China Daily would have subtitles, but the post was in English. So this is their special coverage of China's V-Day military parade, marked the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. Yeah, all the multipolar countries are real on that allied, pro-communist World War II victory stuff, which, you know, I just can't get that excited about at the end of the day, even if I am a Russophile. But here's a list of confirmed attendees at the military parade. We've got Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, the head of Indonesia, the head of Malaysia, the head of Vietnam. We've got Hun Sen, I believe, the head of the Cambodian Senate, as well as Laos, Myanmar, Serbia, and Slovakia leaders. I guess the Serbians and the Slovaks and the Russians are the only Europeans coming. No, Lukashenko's not coming? Maybe not. I guess we'll see. No. It says Lukashenko's coming, so I guess they just don't care about him on Clash Report. But yeah, I'm waiting to see some of the people obviously going to be discussing the military tech. I know Erdogan was here. Yeah, here's Kim Jong-un arriving at Tiananmen Square. Looking Asian as ever. And I know people were already in town for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting, which, as far as I could tell, I know, despite the fact that in the background of the meeting, Pakistan and Armenia recognized each other's, opened up diplomatic relations between one another. Of course, Pakistan, close ally of Turkey. So it's no wonder they didn't recognize Armenia, but they recognized each other. And then Pakistan immediately blocked Armenia's accession into the SCO. And then a few other things occurred, but I remember that was one of the main events. I guess maybe RT will have more recent posts about the. Yes, here we've got Putin Xi and Kim Jong-un share a moment on the way to their seats. Let's investigate. Yeah, you got Lukashenko on the right. He made it. You got Tokayev on the left. Leader of Kazakhstan. Putin, Kim Jong-un, that's his sister or his daughter. I don't know which one that is. And then, yeah, Lukashenko. Yeah, you've got some other jokers back there too. But you got to give Xi some credit with the drip. He's got the full Mao, the freaking chairman gray. Everyone else is in the tie. He's like a tier up, no tie, one tier up. You gotta give it to him. And you look, I'm sorry, we all know we're looking forward to like the Asian synchronous, just how nice everything looks. I mean, look how they're clapping. We do that. I don't know if Americans can even clap. I'm not sure Americans can even clap like that. But yeah, 80 years, 1945 to 2025. I guess here's the entire group. I already named all the important people, but obviously I think Trump, he responded to this. They said that this is not a threat. This is not some kind of, that just because China, Putin, and Kim Jong-un are, three of our biggest geopolitical enemies are together, it doesn't mean anything because fundamentally China is reliant on us for our markets. That's what Trump said. And I want to read, let me scroll up and I can find what Scott Bessent was saying. There's a lot of stuff in the Telegram I need to read here, frankly. Okay, give me a sec. We'll stop sharing this. We'll share the screen and we will share the Telegram channel. Yes. This was yesterday. After the Trump-Putin summit, Putin has done the opposite of what he indicated he wanted to do. He has, in a despicable manner, increased the bombing campaign. This is Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent. He then said, with President Trump, all options are on the table against Russia, and I think we'll be examining those very closely this week. I mean, all options. I mean, what, talking war? Like freaking U.S. troops on the ground? Who knows? And here we got some more of the Venezuela stuff. Says Venezuelan Chavista dictator. Yeah, he said that they will... he said Rubio assured the opposition leaders, Maria Corina and Gonzalez, that there will be regime change and they will be handed power in Venezuela soon. Venezuela is currently under the greatest threat in the last century with the U.S. deployment in the region. We also saw Belgium about to recognize Palestine. Sorry, I'm not just trying to go through my my feed here, but this is starting at that post. There's a lot of relevant stuff. But here we have the South Koreans claiming that 2,000 North Korean troops were killed in Russia, as opposed to the North Korean state TV that claimed it was 104. So, maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe like 400. Who knows, right? Oh, yeah, we also saw the introduction starting September 15th of visa-free travel between for Russians going to China. So that is going to be, I think, actually very big for Russia actually civilizationally shifting towards the Sinosphere, because people are going to be actually able to much more easily travel there than the West at this point. We saw this bizarre headline. French hospitals have been ordered to make preparations for an imminent war in Europe. French president has told bodies across the country to prepare for possible major engagement by March 2026. That's obviously really not a good sign. Here's some more things about the Iranian deep underground military bases that are deeper than Fordo. I don't need to read Trump's latest comments that he's just reiterating things he said before about the Israel lobby. There's this weird thing in the AFD where all these politicians in North Rhine-Westphalia are dying. Well, I don't think we need to get into that right now. Here we saw Erdogan meeting with Pezeshkian at SCO. This is sort of what I wanted to start getting into here. Erdogan's sort of been being carried around. Very old, very sick man. Likely doesn't have a lot left, you see, compared to Pezeshkian, who's, I don't know if they're how that far in age they are, but Pezeshkian looks a whole lot younger than him. And, I'm sure Erdogan is a lot happier that Pezeshkian, who's effectively a Turk, in power as opposed to a hardline real Persian like, Jalili or one of these others. But who knows if they actually had any real bilateral meetings. We, of course, saw reiterations that Turkey is still pledging to increase their troop deployment to Cyprus to 100,000. Who knows if that's... you see this video of them hanging out. There are rumors that the IRGC trains on northern Cyprus. Makes no sense to me why Turkey would allow that to happen unless they're trying to actually study what the IRGC does and get one over on them. But if that was happening, then the IRGC are very, very stupid to do that. $10 from Paisios. This will be my final super chat for a while. As I head off to the monastery in a couple hours, I want to say that I've always loved watching your show. It has made me more zealous for my faith. Well, thank you, Paisios. Everyone pray for our boy Paisios as he heads to the monastery to discern his vocation and his role in the church. So pray for me, Paisios. Have the monastery, have the monks pray for me as well, and I appreciate your stalwart support. Hopefully we can hear from you soon. Send me your info in an email or something, and we can get you hooked up with some goodies and whatnot. So thank you much, my friend. It's always greatly appreciated. Gotta keep going here. Where's Telegram? Where'd it go? Yes. It says here, Turkish media reports that a 35,000 strong army on the Turkish Cypriot occupied northern third of the island will be bolstered with a massive building that could see as many as 100,000 troops stationed there. TRT Haber said Turkey wants to step up its presence on the island as Cyprus gains strategic importance amid instability in the Middle East and Eastern Mediterranean. Turkish troops have been stationed there since the Turkish invasion in 1974. The reports, including from other outlets, said Turkey wants to expand the force into a regional deterrent with land, naval, air, and electronic warfare, and support components with Turkish officials also saying it's a response to increased military activity by the United States, Israel, the United Kingdom, and Germany, and the Greek Cypriot side. Turkey said that jeopardizes the Turkish Cypriot minority. The island has remained divided despite decades of failed diplomatic attempts at reunification. And the Turkish Cypriot leader Ersin Tatar said he wants the United Nations to accept the isolated side that's recognized only by Turkey. Of course, I've posited that Azerbaijan is ready to recognize Northern Cyprus, but they don't want to do it alone, and a lot of the other Turkic states have been lobbied against it. But here's the situation in Myanmar. Obviously, the junta controls the green, the main resistance controls the red, and a bunch of the other groups control the other colors. So it does appear to me that the junta has regained some territory in Myanmar. So that's what's going on there. And here, I don't think anyone can hear this video, so it doesn't matter. It's in Arabic anyway. But this was that news I was talking about with the Palestinian Authority. That's very big. Obviously, it's about to be annexed. The Smotrich plan is about to move forward. But this video I'm going to read, an alleged leaked call recorded between two Palestinian Authority members have revealed that Israel is blocking all funds going to the PA, leading to its imminent collapse. According to the recording, Israel's finance ministers advised Palestinian banks in the West Bank to not give the Palestinian Authority any money. Additionally, he ordered to block all funds going to the PA. The PA was asked, remember, the Israeli finance minister is Bezalel Smotrich, the guy making the plan to annex the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority was asked to withdraw its security forces from Bethlehem and Hebron. The alleged PA members in the voice recording have described this as the end of the Palestinian authorities, saying that all salaries of the school staff, security forces, and civil workers will be halted soon. That is not a good sign. According to reporters, the owner of the recording talking about the collapse of the authority is Dr. Issam Musalat Abu Lukman, director of the Financial Administrative Department at the Directorate of Education in the Ramallah government. If the reports are true, the Palestinian Authority is indeed on the verge of collapse. That is not looking good. And it's clear that Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, Netanyahu are going for broke on a maximum pressure campaign against the Palestinian Authority. And I got to find, from Macron, yes. Macron, there was something else in here I want to read about Macron. I'm seeing where it is. But this first one is French President Emmanuel Macron says U.S. decision to refuse visas to Palestinian officials to attend the United Nations General Assembly is unacceptable. And then, of course, we saw, I gotta find the other, where's the other Macron headline yes, here we go. French President Emmanuel Macron on Palestine. I just spoke with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Together, we will co-chair the conference on the two-state solution in New York on September 22nd. The American decision not to grant visas to Palestinian officials is unacceptable. We call for this measure to be reversed and for Palestinian representation to be ensured in accordance with the host country agreement. Our objective is clear: to rally the broadest possible international support for the two-state solution, the only way to meet the legitimate aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. This will require the implementation of a permanent ceasefire, the release of all hostages, the large-scale delivery of humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza, and the deployment of a stabilization mission in Gaza. We are also working to ensure that the day after Hamas is disarmed and excluded from any government of Gaza, that the Palestinian Authority is reformed and strengthened, and that the Gaza Strip is fully reconstructed. No offensive annexation attempt or forced displacement of populations will derail the momentum we have created with the Crown Prince, momentum that many partners have already joined. See you in New York on September 22nd. Together, let us make this conference on the two-state solution a decisive turning point for peace and security in the region. Yes, he is directly meeting with bin Salman. They are trying to, again, do everything they can to create the two-state solution. Yeah, here we have Friedrich Merz, escalating against Putin, refusing to recognize Palestinian state. Germany still fully in the pocket of world Jewry, unfortunately. Trump recently, here was a video talking about how he settled 7 wars. Here was Marco Rubio talking about the Venezuelan strike. But here, this to me personally, the most interesting piece of World War III news that most people are going to not notice, but is, I think, marking a shift as we move towards the Russo-Turkish clash, as the prophecies discuss. And we have right here from the War Reporter, for the first time in 30 months, Turkish F-16s armed with air-to-air missiles, violated Athens air traffic regulations. The jets flew over the southeastern Aegean near Rhodes and Castellarizo for 3 to 4 minutes before being intercepted by Greek Air Force fighters scrambled from their bases. So Turkey is on the march. They are testing the waters. And of course, Rhodes, Lesbos, Crete, very strong chance these are the 3 islands prophesied by the saints that the Turks take in their brief struggle against the Greeks before the Russians swoop in. In that same vein, in the same region, we've got Hezbollah. They've signaled through informed sources that if the Lebanese government maintains its current positions and decisions, this will affect Hezbollah's cooperation even south of the Litani River. This is, of course, another threat about resisting their disarmament, as, of course, Israel refuses to properly withdraw, and Lebanon is effectively siding with Israel on wanting to disarm Hezbollah. But if anyone in chat has any more questions, breaking questions regarding World War III, things you want me to discuss, things you've read elsewhere, don't hesitate to send the chat. Here was, of course, Trump saying, this is not a challenge. China needs us more than we need them. And now here we go. Let's check Bellum Acta here. Going all the way down to the bottom. Maybe we'll see what this is. What's going on here. Yeah, we'll put the parade up here real quick. It's live and going here, but we'll read what Trump said about the parade before we go to the stream. On Truth Social, as the parade begins, United States President Donald Trump pokes fun at Chinese Supreme Leader Xi Jinping over U.S. support for China against Imperial Japan during World War II. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. Hope they're rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. The point that Trump, however, doesn't seem to understand is for the PRC leadership, American support for China is irrelevant since that support was given to the Kuomintang nationalist forces, which during World War II were the dominant Chinese faction fighting Japanese imperialism, while the Communist Party and its leader Mao Zedong sat in Shaanxi throughout the war and even thanked Japan for weakening the ROC. So that explains a lot of things, but I'm going to head over to the live stream real quick. Obviously, we're witnessing Chinese excellence. Hopefully we can secure some. I can secure some yen. Look, real dictator core. I'm assuming people can still hear me when I mute the sound, but I kind of want to be listening to the music. Obviously, there's not going to be live subtitles of this unless I'm watching the wrong stream, but look, it goes hard. I can't deny that the aesthetic is... Look, they're mogging the U.S. Military.
As you could hear right there, the phrase "serve the people" was written into the party constitution at the 7th National Congress, the Communist Party of China, in 1945. Serving the people wholeheartedly was established as the fundamental principle of the party and the People's Liberation Army.
Look, I'm not like a Chinese nationalist. I'm not like even necessarily a huge cinephile or anything, but I'm sorry, but like this military looks like they would kick the United States military's ass. And that's not to say that when it comes down to the air and the sea realities of things, like I'm not saying that China could invade the homeland of the United States, but if there's going to be a conflict for influence in the Pacific or even on the Eurasian continent, I don't see how the U.S. is going to be able to deploy all of its might in the capacity necessary to confront something like this, especially if they are directly collaborating with Russia, China. I mean, even India. Look, India and China are moving closer and closer together because Trump is foolishly, forced them to in his stupid attempts to because he just thinks that he's on the verge of solving the Russia issue, when in reality, he's just made it exponentially worse, just like he made it exponentially worse in 2017, 2018, and 2019 by sending weapons to Ukraine for the first time. But I don't know exactly what Xi is saying here, but I'm sorry, the car goes hard. The military equipment goes hard. I mean, we were seeing what looked like some kind of directed energy, some kind of laser weapons, which are looking pretty cool. Obviously, we've got some Coast Guard level confrontation boats. We've got torpedoes. We got drones, loitering munitions, big ones. I mean, they seem to have pulled out a lot of the big guns here. And I mean, the military is looking spiff. Again, I'm not just trying to glaze here, but I mean, this is when did the Trump military pull this off? When's the last time the United States military pulled off something this impressive? When was the last time, the military was even asked to show this much deference to the commander in chief? I don't remember. And we supposedly have a jingoistic, nationalistic, president. He's bombed Iran. He's bombing boats in the South Caribbean Sea. He's saying all this stuff. He's threatening Putin, being all bellicose. I mean, he should be, on board with all this military stuff. But look at these guys. They've got the freaking look in their eyes. They know that if they're caught on camera, not with the freaking warrior look, that, they're going to get disciplined. This is, look, I've got all sorts of criticisms of China, but are we going to deny that this is impressive? I mean, people back in the day when my parents were kids would talk about China as like, there's poor people starving in China. It's impressive stuff, but people need to listen to the Steve Su episode to hear more about the Chinese military analysis, the comparative advantage, and how when it comes to missile capabilities right now, the missile capabilities do not favor large ships floating just off the coast in any number of places on the earth. So I'm not seeing I'm looking at the Telegram right now. I'm not seeing any huge transcriptions of these speeches. It must not have been particularly political. It must all just be historical and sort of rallying and nationalistic for China. I don't think we're not getting some announcement on some new multipolar front or some new collaboration or, some new development in the broader conflict against the United States. So Panini asks, do you think the bagels will try to make Thailand, South Korea, and Japan soft powers? I mean, they already have. They already do. I mean, South Korea and Japan South Korea is literally just a United States military base. Japan is our defanged old enemy that we've now turned into our creditor, as well as a military base. And Thailand, they're trying to do that. I mean, Thailand is one of the few countries that was never colonized, formerly known as Siam, of course, was never truly subjugated to a colonial power. Their monarchy is still in place. Their monarchy was able to, maintain its independence as the colonial powers ate up Burma, Cambodia, the surrounding areas. So they're trying, and it has succeeded in some capacity, but Thailand and China are still very close. China is their number one infrastructure collaborator, their number one economic ally. So the U.S., Thailand is currently one of the number one targets for U.S. soft power, color revolution. Look, they hate monarchies. They hate monarchies, especially independent monarchies. So they hate Thailand. They hate, Russia and China, which, have leaders that effectively act as, autonomous independent monarchs outside of the, unipolar, thalassocratic sea empire system. But look, he's still going. Very, very impressive hardware indeed. But let me check Ortho-Christian, see if we've got any stories there before we dive into some Ethnogesser here in a second. Got some new saints canonized. Probably just discuss those on the World War Now episode this week. But either way, we've been impressed by Chinese military prowess. I'm sure you'll hear the full story of that on this week's episode of World War Now. But it's time to get into some Ethnogesser. So if anyone has any other super chat questions you'd like me to answer, please send them. I will dive right in, answer whatever you guys have. But we've got about 15 minutes till we're at the hour mark. It's going to take probably longer than that to play this Ethnogesser game unless I start rushing things. But it's time to lock in. Daily game. Let's do this. this over here, actually. That there. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Looking Asian, but Central Asian potentially. There's this like, I mean, this has me thinking like Kyrgyz or something, but I don't really know. Howdy to everyone in the Substack chat as well, of course. Don't forget to support the show at worldwarnow.co, but I'm not seeing anyone in the chat, but at a certain level, I think this is, I mean, are we talking, I mean, there's a chance it could be some like Bhutan nonsense, but I don't think they look quite Asian enough. I mean, I'm tempted to go Kyrgyzstan, somewhere in interior China, perhaps. I mean, maybe there's a chance that it's, some of this type of nonsense, but I'm feeling kind of Kyrgyz. I mean, maybe it'll be farther over here with some kind of maybe Turkmen or something, but I'm feeling something around here. Anybody else in chat have any kind of idea? Any Asians in chat? Oh, that's why I'm so thirsty. I forgot my water. I'll be right back. I want to see one or two guesses in chat while I go grab my water bottle. West Asian. All right, we're doing it. Bam. It's a Plains Pamarid, baby. I knew it. I guess if I'd gone in China, Mongolia, it would have worked, but that's literally center of exactly where I would have said. So that's why we do it. Thank you, Alan. I needed the Asian assurance to get that one, but thank you, Alan. $4.99. Money for ivermectin for your yellow fever, sir. Well, I never fell for the Asian meme myself, but I get it. Not faulting those that do. I see some of the appeal. Oh, why are you looking so light skinned though? Like, see, when it's the light skins, they always get me tempted to pick like South Africa or something weird in Southwest Africa or Southeast Africa. I'm never thinking West, but then again, there's always a possibility that they're like part Arab. Although these look black. Man. And what if it's not even in Africa? What if it's some nonsense out here? Which I don't think it is, but Sudan? Ooh, actually, you might be right. You might be right, Alan. I literally thought that. I'm not messing with you when I say that. I literally said, like, could be low-key Madagascar. These are Malagassids. Bantuid, South Mongolia. Yeah. Honestly, it looks exactly like that. They look like half Bantu, half, Indian Ocean Island person. It's exactly what it was. I should have said it out loud so that I would have the evidence. But yeah, I should have known. Madagascar was definitely on the list, but I definitely saw the Sudan as well, the more round head. Ooh. I've gotten this one before. Oh, man, I can't remember. I almost want to say it's like more Asian or Georgian, maybe. I don't think these are... in reality, they kind of look Turkish to me. But, maybe like here. Oh my gosh. The freaking Lapids, dude. No. Dude, that happened last time. Not last time, but I didn't get the Lapids last time they came up either. That's not good. Not good. Everyone lock in, guys. Remember, Everyone in the audience, you guys have to do my job for me. I have to like plan the whole show before this. You guys remember, these are Lapids. These are Scando-Lapids. Freaking Laplanders. We've got Ali here. And the question is, are these potentially North Africans? Are these Levantines? I think I'm almost thinking maybe Jordan, maybe out here, maybe something in here. Maybe out here, I don't know. People saying Egypt, maybe. The guy's head looks like it's a bit oblong. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe, yeah, maybe there. All right, trans. Didn't realize they were trooned out, but trans-Mediterranean, widespread Mediterranean subtype with many morphological features. Yeah, these are. I could have gone with Morocco. I think that's kind of dumb to not give me the 5K, but okay. If anything, I think these people are probably more like these people than these people. But, well, I guess not the Gazans, but oh well. Almost a perfect score. There's got to be some abo stuff right here. Ooh. Aboriginals of Sri Lanka. What? Now that I look at them, they do look a little more Indian. The Vedid proper type, typified of Aboriginal Sri Lanka, the Veda people, relatively ancient with a long history in the region. Relict groups today mostly live in the eastern parts of the island. A few hundred unmixed remain. The Veda culture and phenotype might vanish soon, although admixture with the type seems relatively common in different parts of the island. Dang. The more you know, right? It's always the freaking Maldivian nonsense, man. Like, you can't even see these islands on the map. So how am I supposed to remember them when I'm trying to freaking select them on Ethnogesser? Yeah, exactly. Sri Lanka and Madagascar. Freaking spare me, right? Like, I was hedging Papua, Australia, and then they hit me with this freaking subcontinental nonsense. Like, who would have seen that coming, right? Again, now that I look at it, okay, they look like freaking Sir Johnny's, but this guy's got the freaking facial hair thing. They look, I don't know, they look primitive. Okay, next round. 6 out of 10. We're halfway there. These are white people. This guy looks German as hell. Strandeds. Alpinoid Northern Europeans. So these are like dark. These are dark Aryans. Dark Aryans, everybody. The stranded. Again, I was strong. I guess there's a line there. I guess that means something, and they're more present in, I guess, Norway and Iceland. And I definitely did see some people that look like this in Iceland. So this is real. But internalize this, everybody. Stranded. These are dark Aryans. These are dark Aryans, dark Hyperboreans, dark Thulians. This is not, you don't have to actually have blue eyes to be a scanned. This is real. So yeah, fair to light brown skin, usually brown to black hair and mixed eyes. Endomorph, yep. Brachycephalic. Yeah, all the good stuff. So internalize that. Stranded. Stranded has something to do with being strands. These are strands of something. Asians. Where are these Asians from, baby? They're not looking too jungle Asian, but they're looking, I don't know. These are like the dark. Why am I getting the vibe that this is the dark Aryan? These are the dark Aryans of the Sinosphere. Could these be? I don't know. Could these maybe be Vietnamese? Maybe. Ooh, could these be Thai people? Are these Thai people? Not Thai people. Sand Asians. What does that mean? What are you even talking about? Are you talking like Like high desert, like out here? Like, or we, like, because I was feeling maybe some Thailand. No Briz is too pronounced. So we're saying what? Central China? We're saying like Chengdu or something? Like, forgive me, I'm waiting for the guy whose last name is Wong to give me the answer here. We are we're calling in the expert. This is my call in the expert. I mean, are you saying these people could be all the way out over in Kyrgyzstan? I mean, maybe the woman. Central what? Central what? Central China? Central Asia? I'm retarded. Let me know. Look, this dude is Asian as hell. Like this dude, this man could be freaking China. Could be from Beijing. The woman makes things a little bit confusing. All right, but we're going here. We're going to Tibet. Which, you know, if these are Tibetans, then, you know, I'm scared of them now. Kazakh, you're saying these people are supposed to, these are Kazakhs. I'm hedging on the Kyrgyz, Kazakh, China border. Oh, okay. We did it, Reddit. I guess I would have gotten to there too, but what? Look, if I had just gone in the middle of Hungary, I would have gotten a perfect score. It's true. I can definitely see, it's true. They do look a little Hungarian. That's definitely real. These are Andronovo Turanids, the northern Turanid variant. Probably more widespread prior to the Tungid expansion of Hunnic, Avar, and Chaser tribes, influenced by the old Andronovo type. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go Thailand. Thanks for not letting me do that one. But yeah, you're looking at a Hungarian man and a Hungarian woman. Thank you, Orban. All right, what do we got? 2 rounds left. Ooh. Okay. This is making me think Yemen again. Like, this is making me think of, like, that Yemen. Every time I see some guy looking like this, I'm going to have PTSD over that Yemen round. Does anyone... It's either Yemen or, like, Maldives or, like, something over here. I don't know about Pakistan. Maybe. I don't know why I'm not feeling Pakistan. They doesn't look quite Sir Johnny enough for me. The woman, kind of. But I'm, like, so tempted with something here or something here or here. Like, I'm really feeling Indian Ocean. So am I the only one getting Indian Ocean vibes here? No one else is even feeling Bengali? Like, is that what we're thinking? Yeah, that could be real. I told you. I said exactly that. Arabian Vedoid. Ancient Vader like I knew it was Yemen. Totally knew it was Yemen. Gotta trust the gut, but it's 50-50 on the gut, you know? All right, 9 out of 10. Okay, come on now. Come on now. We know what this is. That was easy. People be like, how did you know I was Ethiopian? Be like, dog, look at yourself. Yep. We was Kangs and shit. But that was easy. See, that's like, I see anyone that looks remotely like this, and I'm just like, boom, Ethiopia, boom, Eritrea. And then sometimes it's just not that. And I'm like, oh. How you know I'm Somali? They're not quite bulby enough. You know, his head it's emerging into that bulbous shape. The woman has it too, but they're not quite the Somalian, you know, Jimmy Neutron cranium, Captain Cranium look that those guys have going on. All right, final round. Let's do this. Perfect score. Oh, let's freaking run this. I thought I had it. It's always a toss up. Are they freaking New Mexico, Arizona? Are they like South Dakota, Wyoming? But you know, I knew what I was looking for. I did all right. Oh, top 21% of today's players. I didn't do as well as certain other rounds, but I guess this was a harder round, so we did it, Reddit. Looks like the non-Chalcedonians at the local Greek festival. Yeah. We have some Eritreans at my parish that have, since we become Orthodox, but yeah, those the East Africans do be not accepting Chalcedon on our end, so we got to try to fix that situation. But I want to thank everyone for joining me on this wonderful Tuesday evening stream. If you have any more questions, do not hesitate to send in a super chat. I want to already thank Alan Wong, Paisios, I Panini, Jonathan Kelly for sending in the super chat so far this evening. But if anyone else has any questions, we're going to be hanging out for 4 or 5 more minutes. Going to be checking the news, making sure I didn't miss anything on any other platforms. But it looks like we're going to be landing this plane here fairly shortly. Thank you all again for tuning in. I'm going to read a bit. Not going to share the screen. Y'all can keep looking at Ethnogesser, but actually, no, I will share the screen. Let's check it out. Here we've got the time. This is describing the stream we were watching earlier. Xi Jinping reviews the parade, inspects the troops, and solemnly greeted the People's Liberation Army servicemen standing in central Beijing. Indonesian President General Prabowo Subianto, despite previously having canceled a trip to Beijing due to internal mass protests, traveled to mainland China to attend the parade. Subianto was the Indonesian army general that oversaw the May 1998 Indonesia incident, where during riots, hundreds of Chinese diaspora citizens were killed, with dozens of Chinese women being violated by rioters. Bellamacta has really been showing its Baptist leanings with its super anti-China, pro-Israel stuff recently. Very unfortunate. Used to be a much more neutral channel. On September 3rd, former Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao and other retired leaders appeared at the Tiananmen Gate Tower to watch China's Grand Military Parade commemorating the 80th anniversary of the victory of the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. Jiang Zemin returned 83, General Secretary of the Communist Party. Yeah, these are some old heads. Down here we got 26 People's Liberation Army helicopters are seen flying over Beijing. Some carry the Chinese Communist Party flag, some carry the People's Republic of China flag, some carry the People's Liberation Army flag. So major helicopter shows of force. They love their drones and helicopters over there in China. They're all about swarming. But not seeing any more super chats. Again, feel free to send in anything you want me to ask on the screen. Any questions, but let me refresh. I'm going to go to antiwar.com once again, or do some refreshing of the front page. See if there's anything I don't want you guys to miss. Here we go. I like maps, so you get to look at a map. This says Trump zone would see southern Lebanon occupied, depopulated. Israel would establish permanent military sites in former Lebanese villages. The more information we get about the Trump economic zone proposal in southern Lebanon, the worse it seems for the people. Who live there. The latest reports reveal the plan to totally depopulate the south of the country, to place the whole area under U.S. military control, and to grant Israel the right to build permanent bases in what are currently Lebanese towns and villages. These are the same areas where we saw those Israeli soldiers desecrating the Orthodox Church, mocking the Theotokos, doing some mocking like a sodomite marriage and stuff. It's horrible stuff. But the plan first appeared a little over a week ago, with the U.S. presenting as their proposal. While Israel maintains they came up with the idea, the broad strokes are that it is meant to replace border villages with Lebanese government-run industrial zones, but the plan would involve no less than 27 villages being depopulated, spanning the Israel-Lebanon border from the Kura to Majioun. Along those, Israel is demanding it be granted permission to construct permanent military sites within 14 of the former villages. The plan would involve the absolute destruction of Ladaisa, Kfar Kela, Hula. I got to send this to a Lebanese friend of mine. Markaba and Ait al-Shab. Israel wants the rights to occupy those militarily, as well as Khayam, Amiya, Yarun, Aitarun, Alba, Al-Shab, Al-Darya, Marwahin, Marin al-Ras, and Blida. Underpinning the plan will be 1,500 to 2,000 U.S. troops occupying the Trump zone, which will be meant to assure, they're calling everything the Trump zone. It's Trump Gaza. Golan Heights, the neighborhoods are called Trump Heights. The Zongazer corridor is the Trump route. Southern Lebanon is the Trump zone. Like, oh my gosh, like, we get it that like we know the guy you want to suck the guy's dick, but it's just kind of stupid at this point. It is unclear from the reports if these will be U.S. military personnel or simply American military contractors. Either way, though, Lebanon would be ceding all sovereign authority over the south of their country. Pantaleimon says, Vietnamese coffee is the best. I said what I said. I don't drink coffee, so you are allowed to have that opinion because I have no dog in that fight. But I don't know, maybe Cambodian coffee heads, Ethiopian coffee heads, or Colombian coffee heads, maybe they want to weigh in here. But as of now, I mean, Pantaleimon, I agree. Vietnamese coffee is the best because only Vietnamese coffee supporters have sent me $4.99. But if Cambodian or other coffee supporters want to chime in, I mean, I'm open to being bribed in the other direction. But it says, either way, Lebanon would be ceding all sovereignty authority over the south of their country. The economic aspect of the zone is to create state-run industry in the south, which U.S. officials have suggested provide jobs, even though nobody would be allowed to live there anyway. They have tapped Saudi Arabia and Qatar to bankroll this scheme. They're presented as mainly about harming Hezbollah. The Trump zone is depopulating not just Shiite villages, but also Sunni towns in the west like Al-Bustan, and even Christian-heavy towns like Ramesh. Lebanon is known for being split among Sunni, Shiite, and Christian populations, and none of them are spared in this plan. So, classic Israeli-U.S. interference, dividing more countries, helping greater Israel expand. So not a whole lot of surprising moves there. I'm going to go full screen here as I land the plane here. Final $2 here. Paisio's peach tea is the only thing you should ever drink. I do enjoy myself some peach tea sometimes. Well, again, I'm really not a tea, coffee, anything with caffeine I'm pretty much generally avoiding. But thank you all for listening to World War Now, WWN. Head to www.co, or rather worldwarnow.co. Maybe I should get the WWN at as well. But worldwarnow.co. Head there, get behind the paywall. Please, please, please check out our latest episode. Our Q&A right here, Q&A number 14 at worldwarnow.co. Type that into whatever browser you're on, or please download the Substack app and type in World War Now. Really helps us out, whether you're a free subscriber, paid subscriber. Like the episode, please. Whether even you're watching this replay on Substack, please like it. We want to get over 50 likes on all of our Substack posts. And whether you're watching on YouTube and X, like and share the post as well. This stream really helped us out. Leave a comment below. I would love to hear what you guys all have to say. I want to thank all the super chatters, of course, Alan Paisios, Jonathan Kelly, Pantaleimon, and I Panini. You guys are the best. You guys are the ones that keep everything going here. But here, of course, you can check out Q&A number 14, episode World War Now, episode 133, which is a really, really good episode. I highly recommend it. You, of course, get access to the Death of Empire documentary. Hundreds of likes on it so far. Thousands and thousands of downloads have gotten rave reviews. So check that out. You get access to all sorts of articles. And, of course, so many Ether Hour episodes are the Jewish Roots of the Protestant Reformation with Anthony of Westgate. You've got Refuting Judeo-Bolshevism with Truth Teller. You've got the JFK Files with Jay Dyer. We've got episodes about Elder Ephraim with Father Peter Heers, Blessed Dimitri of Santa Rosa with Abbot Trifon. We've got episodes about American politics with Vince James. We've got episodes about Russian politics with Ivan Vorobievsky and Andrei Afanasyev. So truly a wealth of information. We, of course, have episodes about how space is fake, again, with Anthony of Westgate. So check all of that out. Our recent Q&A episodes where if you get behind the paywall, you can ask us questions, whatever you want. We will answer it long form behind the paywall in an Ether Hour episode. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Seeing if we have any other chats. Everybody in chat, thank you, Paisios and Alan, for modding in this chat. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next week on the next one. Big things coming up, so there might be a few off weeks from the streaming, maybe some shorter streams, maybe some Discord streams, but that's the other thing. Join the Discord. That's going to be linked down below as well. Join the World War Now Discord server. Going to be doing more stuff in there as well. But thank you all so much for joining. Thank you again to our super chatters. Like this episode, whether you're on YouTube or elsewhere, and share. And again, thank you so much. God bless. And we will see you on the next one.